Deload after extensive training. This is Nick Grange from Elite Outdoor Fitness, and this video blog is about how to deload and when to deload when you've been training for an extended period of time. Most people are in and out of fitness because their kind of chemical hormonal imbalance is a little bit like that, and that runs in line with the feeling of kind of a bit of a cloudy feeling, lack of motivation, a bit of depression and anxiety maybe, and like going, I just can't be bothered to train. And you want to capture that before it gets to that stage. And so if you're doing like a 4-week training program with a deload involved in that, that's maybe 3 weeks of deload, and another 3 weeks and a deload, and another 3 weeks and a deload. You can't just keep doing that because you're going to start to plateau. Some people plateau after 4 to 6 weeks of training consistently. I train up hard up to about 6 weeks, and then I'll plateau and come off the other end, and I need 2 or 3 weeks to recover. So during the phases where you're actually looking at progressing your fitness, you don't want to be taking 2 and 3 and 4 weeks every 3rd or 4th week because you've been training too hard, because that's going to be counterproductive. But what you will need to do, twice or even 3 times a year, is have an extended period, up to a month, where you reduce the amount of training that you're doing. This increases your motivation. Your want to train, your need to train is obviously going to be there, but the want to train is really important as well. And it's also going to allow you to recover from the deep tissue damage that you've done. It's going to get your lymphatic system working again, so it's optimal to get rid of all that shite that's in your system. It's going to increase all your glycemic kind of levels because they just decline as you're going, and maybe you might be doing some hard tests or hard training in between, and you're in a bit of deficit, so you need to really replenish those, and those can take 2 or 3 weeks. You need to get your muscle fibers good to go again. You need to maybe look into deep tissue massage, foam rolling, and also just normal stretching to ensure that all the crystallization and all the kind of formulation of kind of rubbish that's built up in your muscles from damaging them and repairing and damaging and repairing allows you to condition the muscles so they work appropriately for what you want to achieve. And sometimes this can not just take 1 week, but 2 or 3 or 4 weeks over time. So how should it look? Very similar to when you've done an event or a race. It's a reduction in training. So where you've kind of capped your training at your max amount, even if you want a maintenance package, you reduce your training hugely. You may reduce it all the way down to like 10, 20, 30% for that first week. So it's just like 2, 3, 4 light sessions of no more than 20, 25 minutes. And not really bounding into the intensities of above 82% and upwards. Almost exactly the same as if you'd been ill and that was your first week back. You're just testing the water with your lungs and you're not taxing your body too much at all, so that you're fully encouraging your body to recover. If you look at your immune system and a number of different systems that kind of are being taxed, when you train and you do some exercise, there's going to be a little drop in some of those systems, but you then want to, T-minus 24 hours, you want them to increase a little bit higher. So they're getting taxed and you're hiring them again. If you train too hard, they're going to keep dropping too low and you're never actually going to be playing that much catch up. So that's what you want to be achieving in the first week. The adaptations from a good recovery are good muscle conditioning, an increase in your glycemic levels, and bringing your muscles back. If you're doing a little bit of foam rolling and deep tissue and stretching, etc., bringing those linear muscle fibers back into a linear state and getting rid of all the toxins that's been built up over months and months. Second week consists of maybe going up to about 35 or 40% of your previous loaded kind of level, and really an extra day off in that week as well, as you would do normally. So if you're training 5 days a week, then maybe you only train 4 days a week, but your programming takes on a little bit of the same form as it used to. You're doing maybe a bit of a mid LSD. You're not up there at your LSD mileage, but you're only doing about 35, 40% of that mileage, but it's a long, slow distance in the correct range. You're doing only about 30 or 40% maybe of what you're doing on your efficiency runs and the mileage that you're doing on that, but you're doing at the lower end of efficiency range, even the top end of the LSD range. And so on with lactate threshold. It might be that you're not doing efforts, but you're doing strides, you're doing a lot less intensity, and with the addition of an extra day off. And your third week, just a little bit more, maybe moving up to like 50 or 60% of what you were achieving before. And by the 4th week, you're closing in on like 85, 90, 100%, close to what you were doing before. And that allows you also to enable you to recapture a better focus on speed and pace, which is all that we're trying to do. We want to come back stronger and more capable. And what you'll find is when you're starting to plateau and you get into that level, you're going to be in a position where you can plateau a little bit higher. And that's something that you really need to be doing every 3 or 4 months into your training program. So as I say, maybe 3, possibly 4 times, depending on how aggressive your training program is over a period of a year. I hope this helps, and thanks for listening.